moving right on then, Ritesh Pai, the CEO International Payments at PhonePe, spoke with my colleague Sumita earlier to talk a little bit more about how PhonePe users can now make UPI payments in the UAE via the NeoPay terminals and the opportunity that they foresee in the payment space.
Thanks very much, Ritesh, for taking the time out and joining us. This is, of course, our first interaction after you took charge as CEO of International Payments Business at PhonePe. Now, a big bang announcement really coming in. PhonePe app users traveling to the UAE can now make payments using UPI. Tell us what made this foray possible.
A homegrown domestic payment ecosystem, and which has really done wonders as far as digital payments is concerned in India, both on P2P as well as on the P2M side. This particular initiative of taking UPI international was something where NPCI act as an enabler. They are the ones actually going and doing the granular handshakes as far as various geographies are concerned. And PhonePe being one of the most widely used UPI apps in India, is tailgating a lot of these initiatives done by NPCI. And that is one of the reasons why today, as a part of NPCI enabling UAE as a geography, we are now building more use cases in this geography for our existing app users to come and transact at merchant locations. So, like I said, as a part of the overall UPI ecosystem, this is an initiative that PhonePe will be entering into all the geographies wherever NPCI goes ahead and enables from a P2M or a merchant payment point of view. From a transaction perspective, it will work like any other cross-border merchant payment that happens, right? Where the transaction currency will be the currency or the destination currency where the transaction is being initiated. Typically, if I were to give you an example, if suppose I'm in UAE right now and I'm going to transact at a merchant, the transaction currency will be AED, which is the dirhams, and the actual account currency, because where my bank account is held, it will be in Indian rupees. So there is a cross currency that will happen because there is a difference between the exchange rates between AED and INR, which is something that NPCI manages as the network in between. But from a actual debit into the bank account perspective, it will always happen in the Indian rupee currency.
All right. And why did you think of foraying into UAE first?
There are multiple reasons if you look at it, right? From a UAE perspective, right? It has one of the largest diaspora population of Indians who live in India in UAE. Almost 37% of the population in UAE is Indians. I think the number of travelers that go from India to UAE is on the rise. That number is also significantly high. Thirdly, like I said, NPCI had actually enabled this geography, at least with the current player with whom we have activated the tie-up, Mashrek, almost, I think, about a year and a half back. And thirdly, this is also a good corridor from where a lot of remittances come into India. So if you look at all the factors, the demographics that exist, I think it becomes a no-brainer as to why this geography should be the first one and not any others. Not that we are not going to go into the other geographies. I think from now on, in the next 3 months, we'll definitely see us entering many more geographies like Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Singapore, Thailand, UK, Europe in the coming months from now on to the H2 of this calendar year.
Well, that sounds great, Ritesh, but a quick clarification I want here on your point about remittances. Is there a plan to launch inward remittance services as well using the PhonePe app, considering India is the world's top receiver of remittances?
Sure. So again, like I said, a lot of these use cases are something that we will ride on wherever NPCI enables, right? So the foreign inward remittance is definitely one of the things which is on the cards. I think Singapore as a country has already been activated by NPCI for money coming into India from that geography, and many such geographies in the coming future will also be enabled. So for us, it's like build once, consume multiple times. So the infrastructure that I've already built in India will help me cater to all these requirements in one go. Yeah, to your point, yes, foreign inward definitely, because I mean, it's all there in public domain. While last year the overall cross-border remittances was to the tune of $860 billion. India was the highest receiver by almost $125 billion, which translated to almost 14% of the overall cross-border remittance that the world does. So it's quite a significant number from an India standpoint.
All right, so there's been a multitude of companies that are actually looking to foray into international markets, lots happening in the fintech ecosystem. Will it be right to say that Indian fintech ecosystem is finally ready to go global? Tell us how big this opportunity is in terms of overall payments exports.
There is a lot of opportunity. I think what we have achieved in India as far as payments is concerned. I think it's phenomenal. It's mind-boggling. And again, taking a realistic approach when you go into international geographies, you can't have the same expectations that you have in India purely because of the size and volume and the scale at which we operate. But I think what will differentiate us from rest would be our the power of innovation, the power of building more use cases, power of being very solution oriented, coming up, identifying the pain points, and then coming up with the right solutions. Idea is to drive consumption and not just go about chest beating about launching so many products with absolutely no consumption, right? I think the Indian fintech ecosystem has actually seen scale, have designed products and solutions to meet scale. If we can do something for a country like India, I have every reason to believe that some of the other geographies should be easier from an implementation perspective. Of course, there will be the behavioral issues, there will be the regulatory nuances that exist in those geographies, but at least from a tech product design, etc., I think we as a fintech ecosystem are definitely up there as compared to the rest of the world. So I think that is going to be something that will definitely be a big advantage for the Indian fintechs going international.
Right, but can you throw some more light on the kind of targets that you've set, or half-yearly targets or yearly targets? And, what are your expectations from this geography in numerical terms?
The merchant ecosystem, like if I were to talk in terms of UAE, right? The top three players actually cater to almost 88-89% of the market share out here. And in the coming months, these three partners will definitely be doing the handshake. Today, we have done the handshake with the third largest partner in UAE. The top two are the ones which will come in the next, I think, quarter or so, definitely. Which means that I can now, from a marketing, branding, communication perspective, give comfort to all my app users that whenever they are traveling to UAE, they can be rest assured that the UPI app will be accepted as a payment ecosystem. I think from a milestone perspective, the next 6 to 8 months is something where I will have to create that awareness. I will have to ensure there is enough visibility. I'll have to ensure that there is enough mind share as far as both the issuers and the acquirers are concerned that this is a payment ecosystem which will be accepted and which will work seamlessly whenever someone is actually transacting at a merchant. And the point is also about how will we create the mind share by doing some strategic tie-up with some of the merchants which are more widely consumed as compared to, I mean, typically keeping in mind that the tourist traveler has a different mindset, and he will require certain specific type of merchants where he will end up going and doing those spends. So maybe identifying those use cases, identifying those specific merchant category codes, creating the right amount of engagement, working out some offers, discounts, promotions. There are a lot many things to be done, and that's what will consume a lot of our time in the next 6 to 8 months.
And lastly, Ritesh, before we let you go, you got on board PhonePe just about 2 months back to expand the international business of PhonePe. Tell us, what are your key priorities going to be this year?
So the immediate thing, like I said, I mean, we take it as our moral responsibility to ensure that the UPI proliferation happens. We did what we had to do in India, and we'll continue to do that. But now the idea is how do we make our first homegrown domestic payment ecosystem to be accepted internationally? So we think we at at PhonePe are best suited to actually be the torch bearers or the flag bearers of UPI international. So The next 8 to 12 months is something where we will get deeper into the geographies which we have already activated, and also activate the newer geographies which NPCI will go ahead and enable. In terms of a sequential thing, maybe after the UAE, we would be going ahead and activating Nepal. Post that, it would be Singapore, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Thailand, UK, Europe. I mean, that's the list of countries that we have in the pipeline as of now, and there'll be many more additions that will happen as NPCA also goes ahead doing some strategic handshakes in different geographies. One is to, of course, activate these geographies. Second is to go deeper and granular into markets, work very closely with the merchants on ground, doing the marketing and branding activity, running promotions to drive consumption. So I think that is something that will keep me busy for the next 8 to 12 months for sure.
All right.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.